LATAM, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over. Roger, understand, go for landing, 3,000 feet. You're looking great.
This is one of the most famous and important dates in the human history. In this day, we went to, and even more importantly, we came back from the moon using the Apollo guidance computer, which had only 4 kilobytes of memory and 1 megahertz of CPU. Now I have a question for you. How many of you wake up in the morning using the alarm clock or the smartphone? I mean, alarm clock on a smartphone, 100,000 times more powerful than the Apollo guidance computer. Technology has done a big jump ahead in the last decades. And this is the journey I want to bring you through in my 18 minutes. Today, we are so used to technology that we cannot distinguish between life and technology, between real life and digital life. They are completely merged together. Think about social media, for example. In one word, that's what I call Technolifogy. And our smartphones represent the trade union between life and technology. We always bring them with us, and we almost cannot live without them. According to these statistics coming from more than 240 countries around the world, our digital behavior today is converging around mobile devices. And this growth shows no sign of slowing down in the near future. So today, one of the images that most scared us is not the one of a deadly animal like a white gray shark or a big black spider, but it's this one. We are almost terrified by the low battery icon. But do you know where electricity comes from, the word? It turned out that in 400 before Christ, ancient culture around Mediterranean area already knew that they could rub a rod of amber in a cut fur to attract like object, like feather, for example. The Greek word for amber was electron. And from this word, in 1600, the English scientist William Gilbert coined the new Latin word electricus. This association gave rise to the word electric and electricity. But now, let's imagine my smartphone is not running low battery, and I hope so. One of the things that we usually do with this one is that a selfie. But taking a picture was not that easy in the past, and actually it has not been possible for many centuries. So how did we get here? From camera obscura, already known in 400 before Christ, to the first photography ever shot in 1826. And this required an exposure time of several hours. So remember, one click and several hours. But photography was something belonging to professionals only until 1888, when the businessman Mr. Eastman invented and marketed the first camera that anyone could use without any instruction. It was a turning point in the photography field. In 1872, photographer Muybridge was hired to study the behavior of a horse while galloping. He did a job, but actually he did a step further, because he put all these images on a disk, and he put the disk in a machine invented. And guess what? He got an early movie projector, which was an intermediate step towards the motion picture and television. The television we have today at home is probably different from that one. Sorry, but it's probably different from that one. And it's that thin, it is hanging from the wall. But the innovation in hardware is not the main difference here. Today, you can watch movie on demand. You can start, for example, watching a movie at home on a big screen. You can get out, you can take a train and continue watching the same movie on smartphones and tablets. This is the real innovation. You can bring your own movie in your pocket. So, with the smartphones, you can watch movies, you can listen to music, you can check your email, but you can do also one thing that we are almost forgetting. phone calls. And the journey to get here in communication field was quite long. Everything started with the smoke signals. Already in ancient China, soldiers along the Great Wall alerted each other of an enemy attack from tower to tower. The first experiment in communication with electricity started in 1726, and after 1 century and a half, we got the first electric telephone in human history. But a big milestone here is 1901, when the Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi established the first wireless communication across the ocean. It was the first step into the world as we know it today, a world of connected devices and services, a world of megatrends, new technological trends that are shaping our life. Today, more and more often, we want to bring our device into the work environment to access company email, for example, an internal application. And we want to use the same devices for personal purposes, personal email, movies, pictures from vacation. This is the consumerization of IT megatrends, where consumer technologies break through the work environment. It represents a big challenge for enterprises from security as well as management perspective. But if you go a little bit deeper, we can see that smartphones and tablets are not the only connected devices today. There are a lot of them. There are smartwatches, iWatch and Microsoft Band, for example. There are wearable devices. There are socks, for example, that can measure the way you put the foot on the ground and send real-time feedback to the app to your phone. And there are many sensors measuring everything: blood pressure, humidity, light, movement, and so forth. This is Internet of Things megatrend. And only a few years ago, it was something known by a small bunch of nerds and geeks. But today, all these sensors are everywhere. And all these connected things generate data real time. Every time you install an application on your phone, or you write a post on Facebook, you generate data and send them into the cloud in real time. This brings to the big data megatrend. And the big innovation here is that we can transform this huge amount of data into insight, and then we can take actions accordingly. All this information are rich of data about us, and they provide a huge value for companies that can amazingly improve their business. To make this transformation between raw data and action, we need a lot of advanced computers. And buying computers like that and managing them is very expensive. That's why today enterprises add another option. There are companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google that sell these computers as a service in the cloud. So if you are a company and you want to analyze your big data, for example, for your next marketing campaign, you can buy processing time, memory, storage from this company. You can run your analysis, and then you can shut it down. It's the cloud computing megatrend. And this concept is very similar to the pay-per-view television you are so familiar with today. So, consumerization of IT, Internet of Things, big data, and cloud computing are the most important technological megatrends of today. But if you take a timeline and we put on this timeline all the invention and discoveries that brought to this megatrend, we can see that the speed of innovation is much faster today than it was in the past. So, what do we need to expect from the future? It is hard to forecast it. But I decided to use the Lego Serious Play methodology to imagine and visualize the world where my kids will live in. I designed two different futures, extreme futures. What the future will be depends on the choices we're going to make. In any case, there will be a merge between the human intelligence and artificial intelligence. And it's represented here by this droid, which is on top of my scenarios. But let's start from the most pessimistic scenario. And we can see here that green energy, like this small solar panel, is much smaller than the factory or the traditional way of getting energy. And this factory is actually polluting all our water, lakes, river, ocean. You can see here that there is a great garbage patch. You know, in the Pacific Ocean, there are currents converging in the middle of it and bringing there all the debris that cannot dissolve in the environment, like plastic objects and chemical mud. This factory is also polluting our air, so you must use technology to fix the damages we do with technology. And we need a special kind of mask to breathe in order to breathe properly. Once more, we will demonstrate that we are the deadliest predator in our planet. We destroy completely our environment. We can find only a few species of animal as we know them today, and we are using technology to build new weapons. We are killing each other. Wars are everywhere in this future due to our greed, to climate changes, and unfortunately, to religious extremism. Very sad for Paris, actually. And technology also, on one hand, enables communication between people. You can see here big 3D holographic screen or even telepathy. But on the other hand, it creates a barrier so that these two guys here, you can see, they can move wherever they want, but they will not be able to meet each other. Likely, I have also a more optimistic scenario. A more optimistic scenario where the green energy has a footprint much bigger than previously. So we have big solar panel and big windmill, and they provide all the energy we need. In this future, also the learning process will be much faster. As Negroponte forecasted, we could take a pill, for example, to learn a new language and swallow it, and it's done. And today I'm learning, I'm still trying to study Danish, and I can tell you that this pill will really change my life. In this future, there are a lot of smart objects. An example here is a smart car, which is connected, and it can drive you to the office in the morning while you're relaxing, reading your newspaper, or using your next generation of mobile devices. There are also different transportation means, and you can go from one part of the planet to the other one in a couple of hours. Space travels are a reality now. We can go now on Mars and on the Moon, and the human settlement there are already in place, and tourists are getting there as well. Thanks to the wide use of technology, also the water are pure, and there are no communication issues, no barriers between people. There is a lot of green here, and peace overcomes war. But actually, most likely, the real future will be somewhere in the middle here. Where exactly depends on the decision we are going to take. Recently, I stopped a while to think about the word decision. It turns out that it comes from the Latin word decidere, which means to cut off. And actually, it makes sense. Whenever we take a decision, we cut off alternative options. And this is the way we shape our life and we build our future. Step by step, decision by decision. We may think that we take decisions based on rational criteria. Indeed, many researchers highlight that we take decisions using our emotional part. Surprisingly, our decision-making process relies on our more creative, passionate, and emotional part. And today, we are making a huge effort to create new devices. And these new devices are getting better and better. They're getting way faster and more accurate than us. But they are not creative. And they cannot experience emotions and patience. And still, this makes the difference between us and them. Thank you very much.